This is Aiden Willems. Rollmonger's Actual Play Podcast is proud to present Star Wars Saga Edition Dawn of Defiance campaign, starring GM Jeff Ball as narrator and game master, featuring the voice talents of myself, with the players Matt Witt, Ryan Messina, Jay Tamlin, and Frank Hamilton.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of Saga Edition Star Wars, where we are not exactly traveling the space lanes, you are traveling the deep, deep jungle, and you have come across a reclusive Felucian native tribe that has taken you guys in. And after suffering the pains, slings, and arrows of this DM, yours truly, as well as some mighty fine role-playing, I must say, I believe that several of you, and one being so close to leveling, as I would like to go around the room and talk about level 2 for your characters. And I believe I'm going to call out a certain order for certain reasons. So let us begin with our so close and so far. Old Man Zinn, played by Frank Hamilton, had joined the game later and had missed a couple combats. But after doing some math, we calculate, but by third, if not sooner, maybe fourth, maybe he'll die. He will catch the party, and all is well. Something that the player's guide and the DM's pamphlets insist for this campaign is a static hit dice number that we're going to agree with. So if they're rolling a d10, they get 7. If they're rolling a d8, they get 5. If they're rolling a d6, they get 4. And this is to keep them in the sort of 70% or 80% bracket of hit points, because this is a very dangerous adventure. And as we said in earlier episodes, low level is deadly in this game. So, knowing that these guys get a nice ka-chunk number, I want to go around the room and talk about everyone's new level, the powers they took, and how they have directly related them to their experiences, maybe downtime, reading stuff on the ship, sort of studying up for that new career, and what you guys have each done with your character. And I'd like to start with Jay playing Askaleth.
Well, as I'm sure you noticed, I happen to have been having to do an inordinate amount of surgery over the past little while, so I took skill-focused treat injury.
So at second level, you guys actually get not a character feat, first, third, sixth level, but a character class
feat. A bonus feat.
You get a bonus feat. So it has to come right out of your character class. This is like a short list from the very long character list of feats. And you took skill-focused surgery?
Skill-focused treat injury.
Oh, which is how you do your surgery.
Yes.
Excellent choice, sir. What else is new and exciting about your guy? Besides 4 hit points. And hopefully, a longer barrel on your stun pistol.
Unfortunately, mainly that's it. Slightly more dodgy. He can be a bit harder to hit. Can stand a bit more hits if they do, and just a fair bit more skillful.
Yes, because you get to add your level to your defenses, your willpower, your reflex, and your fortitude defenses all go up with your level, yes?
Yeah.
Right. So +1 all around on the front. That's good. And I believe when you guys reach second level, you are allowed to add half your level to all of your skills, as well as the damage your weapons do. So you guys should be enjoying a +1 straight across your skill board, as well as a little +1 on your weapons, which you will see become +2 at level 4, and on and on, because you get half your level. And this marks an increase of all of your experience. Anything else you'd like to add, Doctor?
Well, one thing I'd like to add is that, oddly enough, I actually don't see a +1 appearing on one of my weapons, but we can deal with that later. And also, since I took Wealth as my talent at first level, when I next get to a bank account, I'll be significantly more better off.
Oh, no, they have a mushroom here in the native village. They have the Discover card. I mean, you see, just like even if Inuits in North Canada can have the frickin' Discover card, and you have guys in an igloo under pelts and fur staying warm, but playing their Xbox, I see no reason why they don't have a mushroom with an ATM sticking on the side of it here in Felucia. I mean, that's just a given.
Fair enough. When I have a reason to spend money on that,
maybe
I'd like to buy the blue mushroom,
penicillin, some drugs for these poor sick children you're about to treat. We'll get
That's
into that.
That's my son you're attempting to buy.
A mini Merrick. You can order around. Don't listen to your father. You work for me. All right. Speaking of Merrick, he's next on our list. Ryan, what wonderful things has Merrick discovered at second level?
That he's a little bit of a mercantile. See, Merrick was just originally a soldier before, but now that he's actually starting to sell his services, see, before he was just a soldier, not a really full-fledged mercenary. So now that he's actually starting to sell his skills, he's kind of dipped into another class, and we'll have to call that scoundrel.
Oh, level of scoundrel. Well, actually, we don't have one in the party unless you count that droid that disobeys orders.
I love it. I love it. Paul loves this. Change your aptitude, my friend.
It just suddenly becomes a scumbag. No, scoundrel, not scumbag.
It's okay.
Hey, are you calling Rahal a scumbag?
No, I said you just like them. Anyway, sorry, back to Merrick. Talking about feet now, you've got the 7 static hit points. Huzzah! You're harder to hit, all the pluses that we just discussed in your defenses. But what about your choices besides the actual...
Well, I am good at shooting things that are very close, and I can make bombs out of anything as long as it has the right components.
Right, so when you multiclass in this game, there's all the starting feats, but you don't get all of them. You just get to pick one because you already have a first level boot camp under your belt, right?
Yes.
Yes, so the scoundrel starts with this, that, the other, and Whispers of Point Blank Shot, which is what you're saying you took?
Correct.
All right.
I had the other feats, so it made sense.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
Explosives for everyone.
Ooh.
First level scoundrel talent, I guess you're talking about now.
Yes, bomb thrower.
Oh? What does that do?
Allow me to read you the description.
Please do.
He's got a bomb. You've got a bomb. We've all got
a bomb. Bomb thrower, which is from Galaxy of Intrigue, page 21. You are skilled in making and handling impromptu explosives. You gain a +5 mechanics check for the purpose of handling explosives. In addition, you can spend a full round action to craft the equivalent of a frag grenade from spare parts you have on hand. You must have access to the appropriate supplies, such as an older blaster, an old toolkit, or materials found inside a hangar bay.
Again, I'm certain they're here in Mushroom City, just hanging out. Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah. It's a really good...
I'd like to buy the red mushroom, please.
Very resourceful village.
A hangar bay. There's probably a hangar bay in the Imperial.
Well, in some of that lost footage a couple episodes back when you guys were putting on your engineer suits and holding them up and Merrick had access to that pushcart toolkit, pretty sure Ryan was talking about when you guys were doing the flashlight hunt about scrounging anything useful. And now we spent an entire level playing with said stuff, has gained the skill, and now technically has figured out how to turn, scrap tools and stuff into mighty explosives.
Yay, thematics!
Yeah, that's awesome. Nice.
All right. Moving up the food chain, let's go with Rahal, you were so excited about. Matt, you're so excited that your partner is leading, that you're influencing your partner.
Cool. Yeah, I'm corrupting him.
Modifying. We're not talking about... By the way, we need to talk of wage.
Yeah. Wait. What?
So, Matt.
So for Rahal, not a lot's changed. He's just gotten a little bit shadier. Just like
not
Merrick.
Surprised. It's
the environment we're in.
Yeah.
So for my skill or for my class feat, I took skill focus deception.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll send you a new check. It's in the mail.
To come up with to bring his lying skills on par with his
strutting.
Yes, basically, exactly.
His ability to walk the walk.
Yeah. Well, he's had ample opportunity to tell lies, and because of that, he finds it just a little easier for untruths to roll off the tongue.
Very focused, because you've been lying to us the whole time. He's actually an Imperial agent.
Right. Yes.
Just doffs the gray cap, turns the suit around.
You're not supposed to tell them that. They might meta. No.
I've been working for the Empire this whole time.
Shush.
leading you into.
But the reward for poser alone.
Yeah. Cash.
See, they don't have a bounty out for poser.
Oh, speaking of which, anything else you want to add, Matt, Rahul?
Well, other than that, my off-world contacts came through, and I received a nice hefty paycheck.
Yes. Now,
so the next time we're in civilization, it's not going to help us much now, but the next time we're in civilization, I've got just shy of 20,000 credits to play with. How much are ships?
you can get a used ship for 20,000.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Anyway, we'll get into that. I definitely want to role play a used car salesman. An intergalactic used car salesman.
Wait, more fungus, right?
No, I have a very interesting picture that I'd like to put up. But anyway, we'll just put that away for now, guys. Just trust me. 20 grand, used vehicle, no problem. You can't keep charming the current captain anyway. And, her ship is kind of damaged.
I don't actually get 20 grand. I only get 10 grand, but I almost had 10 grand.
We got 20 grand between the two of us, though.
Oh,
combined. There's teamwork, guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, every good venture has to have its investors. Well, I know the way the money flows.
35 credits.
I'm pretty sure Askaleth will 33 credits. And this rock I learned to levitate earlier.
Dude, you can't even afford a ticket for this ferry.
Guys, just the power rate in the fridge.
Say that again.
Hey, I'll keep the ferry running.
Well, apparently you can ride the ferry. Raul says, for a little bit more than 33 credits. Sorry, just the way you said it. That was great.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Matt?
You know what? That's about it for Rahal.
Okay.
A little bit richer and a lot less trustworthy.
So speaking about our less wealthy vagabond characters, that brings us to, of course, now, as much as I'd like to talk about what Old Man Zim Frank has planned, we'll leave that for a special reveal when he does actually level, which brings us down to our Force user, which I've left for last just because Poser is our Force sensitive user. So Poser, at second level, the big question is, all the intergalactic microphones go in your face. Did you take another level of Jedi class, or did you multi-class? What did you do?
So I thought about multi-classing just now because you mentioned it. I totally forgot about multi-classing prior to this.
Just now. Give me a minute, I'll fix my character sheet. But he has to have his own untainted path.
Poser untainted.
From influence. We'll talk about Poser selling out, to fan mail
But no, I was planning on sticking with the Jedi at least for now, and so I took a second level in Jedi.
You have used Force powers in every battle, and including in certain interrogations and such. So it's not like you've been ignoring the original character class. I don't think anyone's gonna, say that you should suddenly be soldier or scoundrel because you've been hanging out with these guys.
Heck no, that guy blows people's heads up with a wink.
I hope he doesn't find me attractive. Yeah, I was going to say nothing. Crickets? Okay, sorry. You were saying, Aiden.
But yes, so level 2 Jedi really doesn't get much. All we get access to is one of our bonus feats.
Okay.
Plus the hit points and just kind of getting better at everything.
Oh, okay. Let's go around the table. Place your bets. I bet he took weapon-focused lightsaber. No? Too soon?
No. He probably took weapons proficiency heavy melee.
No.
I never thought of
more
that.
Force powers, and he can force choke a bitch now.
I could already force choke a bitch. That's a force grip.
I never thought of that.
He already force choked a couple bitches, if I remember correctly.
That's a good note. That's very important. If the force training feat is one of your bonus feats, you could actually gain more powers, like right now. Is it on that list?
I don't think so. If it is, then I'm going to change what I chose.
Skill focus?
There's bonus
on
page
force
41.
training.
Page 41 is the Jedi bonus.
Yeah. No, I don't get access to force training.
Yeah. So that's That's going to be your
I get
character
access to
feat.
skill focus, skills training, strong in the force. But
Well,
no,
strong in the force is a nice one.
true.
It
But
allows you to roll d8s to save the day instead of d6s when you use force points, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Which can be useful.
Yeah.
But I figured I want to be able to survive to be able to use more force points or more force powers and whatnot and kick a little more ass. So I decided on melee defense.
Ooh.
Oh. That's
Which, when I use a standard action to make a melee attack, I can take a penalty of up to -5 on my attack to add the same number to my dodge bonus for my reflex defense.
Oh, so it's kind of like combat expertise in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, considering he wasn't really hitting anything with that big axe of his,
well,
at least he won't.
Exactly. It's like, oh, hey,
You know what? That's
my
a
attack
powerful.
bonus
That's a powerful early feat.
Yeah. Unexpected,
thought.
but that's why I come to love you guys. You're certainly not. We're certainly trying to break the mold. Okay, I don't know if you've gotten this many episodes, fans, and we really appreciate you still tuning in, listening to our wee podcast. But if we haven't said it before, these guys intend to break the mold. We fall somewhere between not as nice as Guardians of the Galaxy, but not as badass or mean as Suicide Squad. And that was our goal from the very beginning, to see if these schmoes could actually help the galaxy along a little bit. So robe-wearing, green and blue lightsaber-wielding goodies, and, Republic commandos and such, and smooth Bespin gas-selling, wheeling and deal. That's not us. That's not them. You want to know what's with them? Well, stay tuned. Keep listening. So, what about the droid?
Do I get to level, Dr. Leth? What happens to NPCs? Anyone?
Good question.
I was there. I get XP. Jeez, I should be splitting this by 6, not by 5.
Was he a purchase droid or was he a feat-driven companion?
I'm a purchase droid, so
Fixed level, then, I believe.
as opposed to
He's
normal getting a companion.
I'm not sure. But I think that's where my, just off the top of my head, knowledge lends me to think.
He's an NPC played by me
Yes.
that's soaking up XP. He's got to go.
Shoots droid.
I believe the original idea for the droid was so that Dr. Leth could give more to the party than just some surgery skills and
Which are
a
the
dislike.
most important skills? The most important skills, that being explosives.
Well, he missed most of the combats. I don't think I've actually been in any of them for role-playing, so there you go, Frank. You're not bottom of the barrel. Arthur.
You're better than the droid.
That's right. You're going to level sooner than the droid.
Yeah. Oh,
What?
that's awesome.
That's right.
If we had to space you or the droid, we'd think twice.
There'd
and then
at
space
least
the
be a
droid.
vote. We'd at least put it to a vote. No?
Aww.
That's terrible.
harsh.
All right.
I'd vote to keep you, Frank.
Space them both. The droid can just hang around.
Beep, boop, 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 boop. Who speaks binary? Who speaks slang binary?
Oh, I speak jive.
All right. Gentlemen, when last we left our party, Dr. Leth had discovered an entire hut filled with sick and dying native children. A very sad sight. But pulling off some mediocre to decently okay and covering up these subsequential roles with some awesome roleplay. Going CSI and asking to see an actual dead corpse for extra fishing bonuses from the DM. We left Dr. Leth just outside of the native enclave village with a few scouts, and he was examining the remains of a child, garnering what bonuses he can, kneeling down, slowly pulling off his medical visor, listening to music from The Who. Dr. Leth,
Yes.
you believe with your rolls, which I don't think we actually announced on air last time, life sciences of 12 and a treat injury of 11. And believe it or not, from their point of view, this virus, this disease that's inflicted to children is nasty. But it's not nasty as in it's hard to cure. It's just, it burns through these poor children. And even so, the adults have been sick, but the elderly and especially these children have been very, very vulnerable. But with modern science, is relatively easy to treat. and you have stocked medical supplies. There's what they give you of the ship, and even expunging, like ripping apart med packs and stuff. You should be able to have the tools you need to actually treat these children, and with some time and some rest, and the next 8 to 10 hours being the crucial time, you are confident that you can save them.
But then there is the last issue would just be trying to make sure that these people have a way of curing this virus on their own after I leave.
Synthesizing a drug or finding a plant substitute, something here. Now,
Indeed.
with life sciences, or should I say physical sciences, those two combined to scour the planet, animal, mineral, certainly there's a whack of vegetable on Felucia. Yes, this is the rainforest of the galaxy. I mean, if you can't find some kind of pharmaceutical answer here, might take a little time, and show them how to, harvest it, boil it down. I mean, you can't really leave them with a lab kit, but there should be something that they can paste and gray and slurp in certain measured qualities that you teach them that, they can treat any smoke. No? You don't want to teach these guys how to inject, or tattoo. That's a whole other sort of pharmaceutical branch.
You don't got the time to make these guys doctors.
At this point, this disease or this virus is so simplistic. It's almost like catching the cold.
Yes, or the measles for children.
Work.
Yep. You could turn them into pharmacists, though. Not doctors, but you could get a couple of astute guys, turn them into this one-time cure pharmacist, and they could possibly, May I have a life science and a physical science roll from you again while you are working on this conundrum?
Of course. An 11 in life sciences.
Okay.
Unless this is another day, in which case I could add another 5.
No, same day.
Okay,
Part
fair
of
enough. And then physical science, you said?
Yes.
17.
Okay. The life sciences tell you from studying the children even more that they are reacting like they would to any, hostile virus that they've never been exposed to. Get chickenpox once, measles, something some contaminant or something they've all gotten sick. However, knowledge physical science and their symptoms tell you that it's not contagious. They shouldn't be giving it to each other. There's something going on where they've all been exposed to an actual stimulus, an actual source, and they've all gotten sick at once. Because though some have died and some are still sick, there isn't all those different levels of contagion. You don't have a couple of kids just fevered and wandering around miserable in the village. You don't have kids sitting up. You know what I mean? They're all laid out. They're all practically unconscious. They're all in stage 5, and some have perished, which means they were all affected pretty much at the same time, like within the same week or a couple days. And that suggests an outside source. But policing, investigation, and such, you can leave for another time. I'll leave you with those confusing thoughts in your head, but right now, it's time to play doctor. So,
I'm not sure what you mean by play doctor.
You, Jay Tamlin, are playing a doctor. It's a play on words. Sorry. The scouts, if you are happy with the evidence and the poking around of the corpse, and, taking what you need, what data you need, you return to the village.
Yep.
And begin treating the sick.
I do.
Okay. Gentlemen, Rahal, Zin, you guys soon learn through not only our former separatist translator, but from the doctor himself, that there are not wounded, but sick children here that he's taking care of, and he needs, the crucial time, like a good 8-10 hours of, before he sees any results. He has already treated them, you know what I mean? So you could take him with you, but that's up to you guys and the doctor. Like, he's given them all medicine that should take effect, and the bodies should start, the children should start recovering if they rally in about 8 hours of rest. You should see results in 8 hours. Where does this leave you guys? What do you want to do?
Well, I suppose that's up to the good doctor. He wants to stay behind. I'm not going to lie. Aside from, some help with computer use, I don't really see... he's about as much use in a battle as I am. And we've been 3 combats so far, and I only got 1 hit.
Well, in that case, could one of you pass me your comlink, please?
Oh, absolutely, Doctor. And I'll hand over mine.
I'm going to see if I can wire it up so that I can transmit basic code through it and be able to use it as a plug and go hacker.
So remote access.
Yeah.
So since you guys noticed that the audio signal has been fuzzy and copping in and out, you're looking for something that you could substitute, switch on, switch off, like Morse code, static, static, pause, pause, static, static, something like that.
Oh no, I forgot about that. Okay, I need to make some kind of an amplifier as well, wouldn't I?
Well, there's nothing here that you could make that's as powerful as anything that's stock bought on the ship, and the ship's having trouble reaching you.
Well, the ship's 6 hours away. Oh yeah, the thing is another 6 hours from here, isn't it?
Possibly.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that would work.
Now, Doctor, from your training, that you've given the medicine, and, it's up to them now. If you wish to stay like a good doctor and, monitor the situation in case there's any complications or a kid goes into shock or something like that, we can do some more doctor drama. If you want to stick with the mission and treat injury on the wounded soldiers that they're going to get possibly hurt and shot up, that's up to you. So we're kind of really down to sort of a moral, ethical question here.
I think I'm more of I would be more of one of those doctors that would go to where I'm needed as opposed to maintaining patient health. I'm quite certain that I successfully cured these people, so I'm probably good to head out.
Okay. Rahal?
It would be nice to have a way of keeping communication with them, though.
Yep. Rahal, Zin, Merrick?
Well, let's not get too hasty on leaving the doctor behind. I mean, after all, everyone needs some bit of patching up after a firefight.
Fair enough.
Merrick?
I mean, if you're no good shooting, just keep your head down.
So, Merrick, Ryan?
Yep.
Your thoughts on taking the doctor or keeping the doctor with the sick little ones?
What does Merrick wish to do is irrelevant. What is my order?
So you're going to go with what Rahal decides since he's your employer?
Well, the jetpack will make Merrick fly, but without the credits, I cannot fly.
Okay. It's only now, when we've gone through the entire lineup, that the quiet chime in last, stay to the side, sit down, drumming his music. You guys notice that there's a quiet. There's no poser sitting in a corner, strumming away on his axe. We were all hanging out in the village. The doctor went off to do a little bit of a excavation with a body, came back within the hour, had good news, made up the stuff, treated the injured. Okay, doc, can we go now kind of thing? We're having that conversation. And somewhere over that hour or so, poser has vanished. What do you do?
Turn to Rahal. Rahal, is this normal for him to wander off? I mean, you guys know him better than I do.
I mean, that is actually a fairly good question.
Well, to be honest, he's done it once or twice. Normal? Couldn't tell you. Haven't known the guy that long. I just met him a couple days ago.
This is normal for him.
Well, if this is normal, then I'm not going to worry about trying to go out and find him.
Your comlink should be strong enough to actually contact him. Like, if he's just on the other side of the village, or in a hut, or wandered off with maybe the separatist guy and having a private chat somewhere or something, you could call him on the comlink if he's literally within a couple 100 yards.
Rahal gets on the comm link.
Okay.
Hey, Posa, where you at?
All your comms light up, guys, but there's no response from Poser. So, would you guys traipse off onto the mission without Poser? Or is this an excuse to go? No. The search for Poser.
Building medic is not advisable.
We will go find Poser. It's curious that he didn't reply to his comm call.
Okay.
Even though there is interference, but...
All right. There is thick jungle in every direction. How would we go about searching for Poser?
Ask some locals?
There's one local that speaks your language.
Yeah, where's their separatist buddy?
Don't know. He seems to be gone too.
Well, this sucks.
All right, so I guess I'm going to, start looking around from the last place we saw him.
All right.
Yeah, we should try and track him down.
Okay.
Set up a grid pattern.
Yeah, cue a montage of you guys doing pantomime with all the natives that are looking at you funny, right?
Trying to charades our way through a conversation.
Can you just see this happen? You guys, I could just see Rahal taking his hat off and sort of drawing a cone by putting two hands slowly closer together as he lifts them over his head. This guy, Merrick's making big chopping motions for the axe, The doctor just kind of takes his static mask and droops it a bit,
I'm sorry, I probably wouldn't help.
He was going to space my droid in that earlier conversation. Wouldn't help. It's okay. You have children to look after. The kind-hearted doctor has, screw the teenager, he has 6 children to look after. Zin.
Actually, I wouldn't mind starting at the last place we saw him standing. So if we were out there in the, we accept you as part of our village kind of place where we left off last.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he was standing by these bushes. I'm going to start right there and see if I can't begin to track footprints, the way that things move. Because I assume that us being, kind of off-world people are going to move, quite differently through the wildlife than the natives will.
Yes. No, you can track them. So the grid pattern now becomes a spiral pattern as you guys, shake hands with some locals and try and get some information which way anybody went. But there are sort of exits, is the best way I can put it. An exit and an entrance to, to the village. Yeah. There's the way we came. And then there's sort of
just
the
like
way...
the beaten path.
Yeah, a little bit, where they tend to go back and forth. This is going to be difficult because unless he breaks with the path, there's all kinds of villagers and us coming in and you know what I mean? But if you get lucky, you kind of spiral out from there, literally where we're standing. As soon as he gets off that path or... possibly headed in a random direction for some reason. So yes. Now, tracking in this game, the scout class it's a class feature track, is it not?
I'm looking on my scout list and I don't see it.
Or is it just straight up in the survival skill?
Yeah, I think it's just wrapped up under survival.
I'm not seeing it listed as a separate feat that a scout gets.
All right.
That doesn't mean it's not there. That just means I'm not seeing it.
No,
yeah,
but
it's trained. It's a trained survival skill.
Right. So if you're trained in survival, which he is, it comes under. It's like you said, it's wrapped up in survival. So that's good news.
Sweet. All right. Let's see what kind of damage I can do by hunting around them.
All right. So first, I believe I would like a perception check to actually find said tracks of distinguishing marks, and then survival to follow them.
There are different DCs based on the hardness of the ground.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going there. Poser doesn't want to be found. He's like Aiden's upping the DC, just so you know.
No, I just wanted to make sure that you had it pulled up.
Oh yeah, no,
in case you didn't. All right.
In the description, it also does say to find tracks or to follow them requires a full round action, a survival check.
Okay, so you don't actually have to go perception to find them. It's right in survival, so that's good news. All right, sir.
Oh, thank God.
What's perception of 10? So Zin.
Yeah.
Can I have a survival?
All right. You bet. So yeah, kind of nose to the trail, looking around. Let's see what I'm going to get here. Oh, thank God Roll20 hates me. With a +6 bonus, I got 8.
Let's go back to the survival roll of perception. All right. Searching
nope.
For a full round
definitely
action.
Stepped in my own boot print.
Okay. Is this the part where you guys tell me you can take 10 in this bloody skill as well as everything else?
Oh, I was saying, this is when we get to watch half an hour of Frank tracking himself.
Going around corners. And what did you say, Jay?
But yes, this is when we tell you can take 10 on survival checks.
Oh, okay. Well, how about this, to roleplay it off? You're 8. There's too many tracks on this beaten path that you're trying to do in your full round action. So what would you do next, Sin?
I would move to a little bit, because I'm assuming he is going to walk on the same trail that everybody walks on to kind of get out away from kind of the area that we were. So yeah, I'll start to move out into the less trod upon areas and start to look again.
Okay, our scout is leaving the village, gentlemen. Is anyone following him? I believe the doctor has already indicated
Rahal
no.
Is.
Rahal is. Yeah? Okay. So the 3 traipse off into the jungle, and Dr. Leth, for the moment, is staying behind. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the droid's still in the ship, thinking that, what great new friends I have, and I'm working hard in the ship, and they'll never space me, and I'm going to get XP for all this hard work. Yeah, I guess not.
And he gets left behind.
I'll level soon. All right.
I am a real boy.
I'm a real droid. Tracking must move half speed, or you can go full speed if you're in a hurry, but you take a -5. Soft ground, firm ground, hard ground. Well, they've talked about this being soft ground, like the vegetation and moisture just slurp city. So the DC is regularly low once you actually get out there. So a couple of minutes out into the beaten path, and then you find signs of people going in just about every direction. Yeah, have another survival check, please.
All right. So, if possible, I'll take a 10 on this one, see if 16 buys me any new information.
Survival check?
Oh, I said I was going to take a 10.
Oh, sorry. So what does that give you?
16.
16. All right. Soft ground DC 10. Any nasty penalties based on a 5 I could give, 16 would still beat it. So, you do find signs about a shoulder height as if a blade were being flat-bladed across brush and suddenly chipping off little things. It's almost someone had, an axe strapped to their back, either low on the hip or exactly. Blade marks here and there, heading off in a random direction, deep into the jungle.
Right, so when I find them, I'll kind of turn back, see if anybody's following me, and I'll, kind of do the forked my eyes to the mark there, kind of being a little quiet because I'm not sure what's kind of out and about in this neck of the woods.
Okay.
Could be more villagers that aren't quite aware that we're, the good guys,
true.
quote unquote.
That's true.
So, as soon as I point that mark out for whoever's behind me to see, I'll start to slip off in the direction they choose, continuing to take, get my average result, which is a 16.
Okay. Half movement for stealth, half movement for tracking.
With a knowledge tactics roll of 7, do I know what he's doing with the whole eyes, bush, or maybe that should be a perception?
I believe, Zin, did you announce that you were, that you were looking, everyone was looking for Poser. He just starts nose to the ground, sniffing around. It's kind of obvious what he's doing. You guys tailed him. He looks up and you guys are looming, your favorite thing to do, Merrick. And then he just does this little pantomime
second.
Aha!
Second, I multi-classed.
That's right.
Looming's my second.
Oh, sorry. Exploding things and then looming.
Not necessarily exploding is experimenting. Exploding is a secondary side effect.
Okay. And this quick little show of face from Old Man Zin, and then he just sort of steadfastly heads, not quickly, he's still at half movement because he has to track and he's trying to be quiet. But you notice he, whooshes away, all Batman style, into the woods.
I'm not the tracker that they needed.
At the ground.
But I'm the tracker that they deserved.
Anyway, do you follow him? Are you guys going to head back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sneaky styles.
I was going to say, if you guys are up to moving full speed and he's only moving half speed, then you could tromp along very loudly behind him. And
No. We'll follow him silently.
23.
Silently as we can.
All right. Merrick leading the pack with a stealth of 23. Stealth for the rest of you gentlemen?
Stealth, you say, might not turn out too well for me.
No, that wasn't a good
Yeah, it's hard to stealthily trudge through the bushes wearing a suit, but it's not that hard.
Solid.
Stealth is 16.
Not bad. Zin.
Yes.
Some stealth, sir?
So now if I use stealth and tracking at the same time, does that reduce me to 1/4 speed?
No, it just talks about taking your time at half speed to track. And if you want to be quiet about it, I'm not going to double. No, it's fine.
Yeah, double dip.
Okay.
Ouch.
Smack.
So I got a 12 on my stealth.
Okay. But you are up front breaking through the bushes while these guys are just kind of, drafting you. Shh.
Kind of following in my wake.
Can Merrick kind of sneak up beside the old man's inn and grab a branch before it snaps and be like, "You're making too much noise."
True, but to close on him, you have to go full speed, hence dropping your stealth. So they're really quiet behind you, and then suddenly he runs up and you can hear him approach, making lots of noise, and then at the last minute goes stealth.
If I hear somebody rushing up on me, I'll make sure to grab a kind of a thumb-thick branch and just pull it back like a bow, and then I'll duck and let it go.
Okay.
So it whips over my head.
I appreciate that.
All right. So.
Stop making noise. Just get slapped in the face by a stick.
That would be the same whipping branch that Merrick suddenly grabs and tells you that you're making too much noise. And
too much noise.
Okay. Well, I can see how this is going to go.
Scout.
So, into the bush. I will call for some more stealth if there's anything that cares to eat you or, hunt you or track you.
Good to know.
While you guys go traipsing off and trying to close on a trail at half speed that's about an hour or so old, let's go to Poser's position, not in current time, but back when everyone was assigned chores. Do you remember that? Let's all help montage of fixing roofs and do what we can while the doctor was prognosing that sick children found them and all this kind of stuff, right? The old shaman led you to the hut, motioned a little bit, and then him and the translator left. Right at that time, Poser, the old withered shaman, approaches you with the former separatist translator and starts babbling. And the man translates that he wishes you to accompany him into the jungle to look for something.
Sure.
Okay. He also exclaims that he believes that you can see and sense things the others cannot. He can see it and sense it in you. And 2 people that can do this to help him find what he wants is better than 1.
I'm not sure what he thinks I can see, but why not?
Can I have an intelligence roll?
Yeah, sure. Intelligence of 4. I was playing coy, but apparently I'm actually stupid.
They're going to take you out in the jungle and kill you. It's just, whatever. Come with me.
What darnation?
Yeah. No, you're not sure. I mean, you had a couple ideas, but there's just, these people are weird and so alien. So anyway, do you go with them?
Yeah, I'll follow them.
All right. We head off the beaten path, and we're about 10, 15 minutes into the jungle. And then he spins around, and he takes his little shamanistic Indiana Jones pouch, side saddle pouch that he wears with his little medicines and everything in it. He takes it off, and he hands it to the translator. And then the old man starts, twisting like he's doing exercises, push out this shoulder and twist around and stretch this arm, this kind of thing.
Okay.
And then he points at you and points at the translator and makes this sort of sweeping motion with his hands, clearing, dusting off the front of him. Now, the old guy only wore a loincloth and carried a single bag, which he's now relieved of.
Wait, just a single bag or also the loincloth?
No, just a single bag.
Okay,
he's relieved of.
He takes off the bag
wild with the natives,
and then leads you off into the bushes.
You'd almost wish they were going to kill you.
Death by snoo-snoo.
That's right. This isn't a village of great big women either. So, what do you do?
First I'm going to kind of tilt my head and just be like, do you want me to take off my stuff?
Yes, Mandrake confers. He wants you to, strip down your gear. Leave your gear with him. So,
okay.
Basically, you don't have to, empty your pockets, but you know what I mean? Your anything that's bouncing around or weighing you down, your axe, your pouch, your utility belt, Batman, that kind of thing. Just
yeah. I'll take off both my weapon holsters and then also the duffel bag that I was carrying, and pass them to the translator.
All right. So now he immediately waves you forward and leaves the translator standing on this. Well, we're not exactly on a path, but standing near one of these giant mushrooms or whatever. And he begins to climb it.
Interesting.
He climbs very quickly. For an old guy, it's almost like his hands were suction cups or he had claws or something, because he shoots up that tree practically at half speed anyway. Climbing is like a quarter.
Yeah.
Now, years of the mushroom getting taller and its ashen trunk breaking off and resprouting has left, I wouldn't say they're sharp, but they're certainly stubs and sort of offshoots all sticking up in a scaly pattern. So there's lots of handhold, foothold kind of things. Some are brittle, you gotta be careful, but lots of ridges all the way up this thing. So it's climbable.
Well, I'm going to grab my chin, crack my neck both ways, crack the knuckles, look at the translator and be like, do I have to?
He nods.
All right. Later. And then Poser's going to start climbing.
He tells you he'll see you back at the village.
Poser goes to nod and then almost rams his big forehead into one of the outcroppings on the trunk.
Okay. You looking down at now a moderate height, and you see the odd bush rumble kind of thing as he, laden down with gear, carried in his arms, get your axe sticking up and your thing over his shoulder, and the old man's bag around his neck hanging behind him, jouncing along and weighing him down, just kind of heading off. He doesn't turn around and go straight back the way you came. He seems to kind of head off in another direction, so maybe he's taking a long way back or something. Okay. So you climb. Would you like to make climb checks, or is this another taking 10 situation?
I only have a modifier of 2. I'm taking 10.
All right. Up you go. You've lost him. He's twice your speed. Then you get to the top of the actual mushroom itself. Now, this ashen ridged bark gives way to a sort of pink and orange striped, purpley, smooth underside carapace of a mushroom with long rope-like tendrils ending in round stubs dangling at different lengths, about anywhere from 1 square to 3 squares out from the trunk itself.
Okay.
You ponder the scene, look around, and you hear a stomp stomp. You look up and you see the old man not only up but way out, because you got to crane your head backwards because he's like out on the edge of the mushroom at the top, holding one of these tendrils, you know, as if he used it to probably jump on it and start swinging and like swing up here. And now he's landed on top, but he still has the tendril in his hand. You can see its graceful arc sweeping out, down, and, you know, up into the under bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Starts waving you up.
Oh, I guess I'm going to start following.
Okay. Can I have an acrobatics check, please? Considering there's a very long fall in your future, possibly, this is not to let you take 10 on.
Ah, damn it, Jeff. Just pass that. All right.
Gotta earn it, boy. Hurry up.
18 for a 20.
Very nice.
Nice roll.
All right. So, nimbly pushing yourself off, twisting in the air, and grabbing and swinging back and forth, steadying yourself on one of these tendrils. A nice, straight out, and grab one as far out as you can. Half the distance, you're good. Swinging back and forth on this vine tendril. What do you want to do now? You can shimmy up and try to, like, chalk rock climb the underneath of the carapace at a very steep angle. You could shimmy down for as much leverage and start swinging like mad and try to use your strength to swing on the way up. Or you could do something else, perhaps.
I guess Poser's going to try and swing.
Okay. Can I have a strength check?
Yeah. 6.
Okay. Swing back and forth. Swing back and forth. You can swing back and forth like a kid on a swing, but daydreaming that I'm going to kick my leg so hard and go right over the top, like kids often do, which you would literally have to do to get up where this guy is, it ain't happening.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then he's going to climb to the top, and then just try and shamblu my way up.
All right. You begin climbing.
Yep.
All right. Let's have that climb check.
Damn it. So when you give me the take 10.
No, this is very dangerous.
Natural 20 for a 22. Suck it, Jeff. Suck it.
Hey, I'm doing the mean old man teacher montage here, okay? Hate the old man. Don't hate the DM. Gave this some thought, you know. So,
don't hate me.
Instead of using your raw strength and acrobatics to whip up there, or perhaps something else that he sees in you, you try the much more dangerous manual way of shimmying up the rope, digging your fingers into the ridged, elongated outside underneath carapace of this giant purpley pink mushroom with orange stripes that actually seem a bit softer and give you like a tiny bit of an inch finger hold. Reverse rock climb. You ever seen these guys rock climb? They get the chalk and they get to the underside of a rock and all they have is their chalk bag and they're like dangling their legs and they have to like literally climb outwards to get to an edge. Yeah, that's you.
Awesome.
Yes. But guess what? 1/4 of your movement is like a square, maybe 2. And even though you're like halfway out, I'm pretty sure you're dangling on the edge. I want one more.
All right, climb check coming out. 14.
Ooh. You dig around and dig around. You don't fall, but you can't seem to gain any more purchase, and you are kind of stuck where you are.
Can I toss a force point into that?
Sure.
All right. Adds 2 to that to make it 16 for a climb
16.
check.
All right. Well, a quick double check, because I don't want to receive more fan mail going, oh, actually, the DC for that was like 20. So a quick pause for it. In case you guys haven't figured out, this is the training montage that Poser's going to suffer.
Ah, crap. No, I was saying, oh crap, it's something else, and Jeff's going to realize in a second.
I'm looking at the DCs, man. I've been there 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh, damn. This is really steep. Overhang ceiling with handholds, but no footholds. That would be us. 25.
Yeah. What do you think?
Which means
crap.
you get going. It's just, okay, so now, so last time you failed with a 22, right? You want to use a force to get exactly where you are? Otherwise, you're going to owe me 2.
Yeah. No. Let's retcon this.
Okay.
So if that's the case,
So you picture yourself getting halfway out and barely getting there, if at all, and then the second part just wouldn't even make it with a force point as you continue to swing and dangle. Impatiently, the old shaman leans over, like right over, bends over, and you can see him, right?
Yeah.
And stamps his foot impatiently, as if he wishes you to hurry up.
I'm going to grunt, I'm trying. And then at that point...
Can I have, what is your will?
My will defense?
Your will defense, sir.
16.
Okay. Unfortunately, my telepathic messages aren't reaching your giant cone head receptor. Strange. You're right there, and you have a giant melon, but your
that's
strength
only
of will...
if I choose to resist.
Okay. You feel him pushing on your mind.
Yeah, at this point, I would open up to him.
Okay. You get the impression that he wishes you to make haste. It's dangerous to linger there.
Yeah.
And as if on cue, you hear a strange buzzing noise getting louder. On the other mushrooms below you, you notice large insectoids sort of slowly clawing curiously in sort of a dance bee-like pattern underneath you, a little ways out, and they're buzzing at each other like they've just begun to take notice of you dangling so many odd squares above them. What do you do?
I'm going to go back to the bottom of that tendril and go for the swing again.
Yes.
That's my best bet.
All right. Acrobatics?
18.
Very nice. And swing and stick the landing. You don't do the awesome job with an 18 of like swinging up there and planting 2 feet like he did, but you get close enough that you can literally reach out and grab the lip.
Yeah.
And with a successful climb check, pull yourself up, because technically now you're not climbing an overhanging ceiling, you're just hanging off of an edge and pulling yourself up.
So I still need to roll for that?
A climb check, yes.
You just want me to get the 1, don't you?
No, not at all.
Well, 18.
He's trying to teach you a lesson, and every time you bitch and hesitate, you're actually putting yourself in danger, but I'm sure you'll learn soon enough. 18, yes. Slowly pulling and exerting your strength, pulling yourself up, getting a leg up, and flipping over under the hot, misty sun, you looking up.
Yeah, so I pull myself up, and then as soon as I'm up there, I'll crawl a little bit in to make sure I don't roll off the edge on accident, or that it doesn't like tip over.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of just sit there and just breathe, just trying to catch my breath.
Okay. The old man provides shade as he looms over top of you, appearing, and again presses on your mind. You get the feeling that he thinks you did it wrong. Spins around.
How was I supposed to do it?
Spins around and marches towards the center of the giant mushroom carapace, giving you just another few moments to rest. What do you do?
I'm going to stand up and start walking towards him.
What is your reflex?
My reflex is 14.
A large, sticky, pinky purple glob of goo the size of a basketball comes flying past you and hits you right in the shoulder as it glances off and continues on its trek and pulls you. It's very, very sticky. As soon as you're on your feet, something flew your way, practically knocking
what the hell?
almost knocking you back a step. You look forward. The old man is right at the center, and he's standing in this pile of resin or goop that is sort of congealed in the center cup at the bottom of the dimple in the top of the mushroom, because the outside edges are raised and it slowly cavicates in, right? He's standing in the middle of a pool of goo, which is about 4 squares. And he must have, literally scooped up a snowball or something of it and tossed it at you. Anyway, wondering what his game is, okay? You see him do it again. Only this time, he does the whole Goku ball thing. You see him take his hands, and in a more exaggerated pose, unlike the young warriors who just kind of did the, compressed overhand, underhand, and a whole bunch of air and dirt and debris, formed, right? You see him make a similar gesture, but he stomps the ground, causing the resin to splash a little bit, and kicks some up, so that it adds to the debris pile that the air is forming, and compresses and compresses. And then he actually, even though there isn't, it's not a solid ball of resin, he does something where he turns his hands and the resin expands into a bubble of resins and immediately launches it at you again. Whoosh. And this time hits you square in the chest, to your amazement. You are very, very sticky, and it knocks you back a peg. Not dangerously close to the edge, but what do you do?
At this point, is my entire shirt covered with this stuff.
Think of it like paintball. You got hit in the shoulder and you got hit center mass.
Okay.
And it's very really, really sticky paint, like getting hit with tree sap.
Okay.
Only he's managed to find a way to
Poser's just gonna rip his shirt off.
Okay.
It's perfectly good shirt ruined, but oh well. And then he's going to again say, "What the hell?"
Okay. He tilts his head and presses in on your mind, and you get the feeling that he wants you to adapt. Anyway, he lifts a hand out, and your shirt that you rip off, he tilts his head, points it sort of down in concentration, and his 4 suction-cupped hand reaches out towards you, and the shirt starts moving by itself towards him. And then, after a couple feet of skirting along the ground, flips up very quickly in the air and comes right at him. And mid-air, it wraps up into a ball, comes right at him, and suddenly stops a foot away from his hand. He lifts his head and contemplates you, tilts it to the side, and leans out, looks at the ball that he stopped in his hand, and looks back at you, presses in on your mind. Adapt. And then he closes his hand into a fist, and your shirt falls down. Then he starts stomping around in the resin again, kicking up stuff, making a nice big shiny Goku bauble. This one's twice the size as the last one. If this hits you, you're going right off the edge, buddy. What do you do?
Oh, if that's the case.
Cue action music, it's on, and no, you don't have to stand there. If this guy hits you again, you're going right off the edge.
All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rush diagonally towards him.
Okay. I was going to say, if I hadn't cued combat music by now, I was going to do a round counter. It's okay, you're in combat. Let's go. All right.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Okay. So, how about this? We will use the old map, because I don't have a giant pink mushroom at the moment, and we will find a spot on here that is basically the shape of a nice big fat mushroom. The one in the top corner.
Top right?
Yep. Bring you up here, boys. Everybody see this? Okay. So this is me in my pile of goop. Okay. This is Poser. Stepped in a little bit from the edge. Getting pushed outside the pink ring means you plummet to the jungle floor, or maybe something nice and squishy will break your fall. All right?
Got it.
I have initiative. I go to do my thing, whack you back and forth, pause, break initiative, we talk, blah, blah, blah. Then it becomes apparent that he's going to attack you. He makes something, and he holds, delays an action, and you go launching into action. So it's your turn. Rounds are kind of irrelevant, so you want to show me that diagonal rush now?
Yeah, sure.
All right. For those of you at home, I have painted a pink circle approximately 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 squares across in diameter. In its center, in a square that is approximately 2 or 3 wide, is our old shaman. And Poser has rushed at him to his left, or my right, coming down on a sharp angle and then hooked around, making like a big letter J, and come right up behind the old man. What do you do, Poser? Did that use all your movement?
Yeah.
That was 6?
Yep, that was 6.
Okay, you still have a move or standard action left. What do you do?
Okay, at this point, I'm going to try and mimic what he was doing with, like, the stomping and the hand movements to lift the ball.
Okay, you are not standing in the resin puddle.
Yes, I realize.
Oh, I see. You're going through the tribal... I gotcha. Right, sorry. I thought you were actually going to try and kick up some resin and copy exactly what he did. You're copying the...
Well, Poser doesn't know how this... Well, I don't know how this works,
right.
So I'm just copying movements.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you reach out, you stomp, you put on a good show, and press your hands together, and that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I copy exactly what he does, or I try to at least.
Okay. You copy all of his quote-unquote movements, and end your turn standing behind him. Sorry, I missed the show, because now I have my back to you. In Goku Ball position. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Back to the old man. Sorry, Zin. Back to the knowledgeable shaman. Okay? He doesn't turn around. He just turns his head up and kind of looks at you, right?
Yeah.
And seems to melt. Like, it almost looks like he took the ball and dumped it over his own head, and as it splattered down on him, he just melted right into the goo and vanishes. For a moment. Then suddenly reappears over here off your right shoulder, ending his movement there. He just kind of does this thing right in front of you and just seems to turn into goo and go down into the resin. And then it's almost like you feel or sense movement. You even see the resin kind of blob up a bit, and out of the corner of your eye you see movement, and it's like he's just sort of going from this square to this square, and you can actually see him again. But now he's on your right 1, 2, 3, 4 squares and very close to the edge.
Okay.
Your turn. What do you do?
I'm going to step into the pool of resin.
Okay.
And again, copy his movements.
Okay. This is considered difficult terrain.
Okay.
Okay, it's very sticky. Okay, so you get in there, you stomp all through it?
Yeah, stomp through it, do the hand movements, trying to... And I guess touching into the force to try and, like, create this ball. Whatever the heck.
Can I have a force check, please?
I assume I could feel him touching or tapping into the force when he did it, right?
Yes, thinking back, you could.
Okay.
But unless a player calls for, like, a use the force check to even see if you sense that type of thing, like, until you literally started saying I tap in the force, so, making force check rolls, you're going to be just kind of parading around. It was a good show while it lasted. So what'd you get?
Use the force check of 21.
Okay, you get into this goo, and you start stomping around, and you reach out with the force, and the first thing you feel is the plant itself, this giant, vibrant, towering mushroom, and you're stomping around almost like in its lifeblood. Now, a regular mushroom does not have tree sap in it, but this goo that's congealed here is part of the mushroom. You're not sure if, like, rains of, like, peeled layers and then it's just kind of congealed here like compost or what it is, but you do know that this stuff either comes from the mushroom you're standing on or was a part of it or is tree sap or something, and you're cromping around in it, and the first thing you sense is its life force and the jungle, the forces around it. And he himself must be really good at hiding himself, masking his imprint, because he lights up here like the jungle itself. So he's either so in tuned with his own jungle or really good at using the force to mask his presence. His sense of life is very similar to this mushroom you're jumping around on.
Interesting.
You reach out to pull debris and shape it in your hands. But nothing happens. But you did experience all that force sensation. The old man moves steadily towards you. 1, 2, 3, 4, strafing straight across from your left to your right, because now you've entered the patch and turned around facing the south of the map. He moves sideways, strafing steadily, marching, not entirely 6 squares. 4, stops right in front of you. Reaches out with both arms and hands and slowly concentrate on you. What is your willpower? One more time for the audience.
Willpower is 16.
Okay. He pushes on your mind, causes the connection, but it's not a thought or feeling. He's trying to breach the connection, what he's thinking, what he's doing now, and sort of projecting it at you. You get the sense that he's attempting to lift you right off the ground, and he does. And it's not like you feel weightless. It's like you can practically visualize a big vine, unseen hand grasping towards you and trying to grapple you, and your own will is trying to fight off or struggle against this thing as it tries to grasp you. Finally, it wins out and literally plucks you from the resin and slowly rises you a full square into the air, and he dangles you there. But the fact that he didn't like just move a rock or the tree or the swamp, he's actually using the other power to connect with you. You can feel what he is feeling, his sensation of reaching to the force and using it to lift you. Only it's not like anything you've experienced. It's not like anything your master has taught you. It's almost like you're not being lifted in the air. It's almost like he's commanded the mushroom to lower, to stoop, to like the jungle scape recedes, is dropping below you, and you never moved an inch. You're just hovering in the air because the ground fell out below you. That is the sensation. The imprint he's trying to give you, it's almost easier to ask the planet full of life to move than to lift some squirrely little 21-year-old dude who's stuck in the mud up in the air. Anyway, he shuts off the feeling, and he lets go of the power and drops you on your ass prone in the resin. Splock! What do you do?
So at this point, I kind of realize how boned I am. Like, I am totally screwed. So I'm going to stand up in the resin, step out of it towards him.
Okay.
Like next to him, and then kneel down in front of him and send him the image. Like, try to connect with him telepathically and just be like, teach me. I'm sorry.
He immediately comes back to you that he already has been, and the lesson isn't over. A heavy bare foot lifts up, pushes on your shoulder, and shoves you straight back into the resin, and you fall back a square. Now he, as a free action, kneels down and plants both hands into the actual mushroom carapace, like drives it in there.
Yeah.
Not hurting the actual mushroom. You know, it's not like he's making a crack or whatever. He's just pushing hard enough that it gives like pushing on something that's soft. Right?
Yeah.
But his fingertip knuckles kind of disappear. That's how down he's pushing into the soft ground. And he lowers his head. He begins to concentrate, and his little tiny tendrils all begin to swerve. And he reaches out to you again, pushing on your mind. Attention, observe, watch. You know, but you kind of get the idea that he wants you to see, like with your mind's eye, see through the force, not just watch what he does.
Okay. Then I'm going to tell us how to use the force check to observe what he's doing.
Yep. Sort of make everything go Technicolor rainbow. Reach out to the force.
Natural 1 for a 9.
Okay. You reach out to the force, and you connect with the river of flow, the energy that's in all things, and you don't see anything different or maybe something specific that he was doing. You do connect with the force. It's pretty easy. But everything just becomes more vibrant. His life force, it's like everything glows. And because you kind of blew the check, as it were, you don't sort of notice anything, anything distinguishing. Everything's just like a blinding glow. All the life forms, it or whatever. But you do feel something. You do feel like he's using the force directly on the mushroom itself. That much you're getting.
Interesting. Can I make another check to try and focus on that?
Try and focus on the mushroom, see what he's done to it?
They're focused on the feeling at least, if not,
sure.
The mushroom.
Okay. He's done doing what he's did, so you don't get to feel like the act, but you reach out with the force, and the mushroom itself seems to be stronger, to glow just a little brighter, its life force, after he did exactly whatever he did. He himself, the old shaman, very slowly gets up this time, as if this last act has taken something out of him. He doesn't seem to stand as tall and as opposing. He doesn't seem to move as quick.
Interesting.
And you're not sure, possibly even some of his tendrils seem to be even more scarred and winked out. He takes a step towards you and is now in an adjacent square, sort of hunched over, bent over, in age and pain, regarding you lying there in your pool of resin sap. And he takes if you've seen their suction cup hand, it's like an umbrella. It's like 4 corners with suction cups on them and like a webbing in between, right? So folding 2, it's like he's holding up 2 fingers. He points deep into his eye sockets and he points directly at your eyes.
Okay.
Anyway, pointing at himself, then you, and then he lifts his hand and then back at you and himself, and he gets this push on your mind again. Attack. He's right in your face and seems to wish for you to attack him. At this close and personal range, you know he's talking about the Force. You know he's talking. You know his will is to use Force powers.
Yeah. Not
take a punch at it. You know, it'd be great if you just kind of clock the old man. But
thought about it. But yeah, probably not a good idea. Okay.
And the second thing, again, observe, watch, pay attention. Funny enough, as you're attacking him, possibly for his reaction. You're alone. You're the real poser. You're the Padawan again. All that stuff, all that empathy and stuff that you feed those guys, you know. Out here, you seem more focused. The poser has sort of fallen away. With every attack, with every action, you see more and more the learned student and enthralled, and less the guy with a chip on his shoulder.
Interesting. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to use Force Grip, as you wish. Use Force Check of 14.
14. Okay. It's just enough to get his will, or is it a fortitude for this?
It's based off fortitude, but I didn't even make the DC 15 for damage.
Oh, okay. So you reach out with this power, and before it even falls flat, okay, his demeanor changes. It's not like he changes the expression on his face. There's just sort of a pulse, a feeling that he suddenly just radiates. It's literally like one radiating pulse that goes off in like every direction, and it hits your incoming force power head on and diffuses it. You're not even sure at this point if you actually failed your force check for the DC, or if he somehow really seriously lessened its impact coming towards him as if he rebuked it. He actually used the force to stop your incoming force power.
Huh. Can I make it use the force check to see how?
Sure.
It could be useful. 26.
You reach out, you meditate, you were paying attention, and it was almost like you could just see him willing this sort of bubble or shield or this sort of whatever's coming at him. You get the sense that he just diffused it, like he redirected your power to harmlessly bounce away. But you also kind of get the feeling that if he wanted to, the way your master showed you with a lightsaber of energy to not only deflect blaster bolts, but possibly reflect them, that the force itself could be used in the same manner, not only to deflect powers coming at you, but to possibly really boost that signal and reflect it at someone. Now, luckily for you, face to face, he didn't do that. But with a 26, I'll even throw in some, this power has this interesting DC effect of this. He seems tired after this. He slowly slides his legs together and sits right down, you still in your pile of goo, him right in front of you, cross-legged, places his suction cups, palm up on his kneecaps. And for someone that's had no force training, he looks like he is about to assume a Jedi meditation pose. And then he rocks back on his back and flips over and shoots his legs and his arms out like starfish, really in a violent motion, and plants them firmly, feet straight down, flips his palms over, straight down, bang, into the mushroom like he's doing this giant snow angel. Boom. And you notice laying prone on his belly in front of you, spread eagle. His face tendrils all sort of relax and fall limp, pointing either side of his face towards the ground. What do you do?
Use the force to see what's going on.
Okay.
Natural 1 for a 9.
Or 9. Okay. You're not sure exactly what he's doing, if he's meditating or if he's trying to use a power that you're just not comprehending. But you do feel a familiar sensation, like he's doing his own version of a force power that you already own. He's just doing the jungle version of it. And it's very alien to you, and since you didn't learn it this way, or is reaching out to the force the way he is, then, you're having hard to follow along. Because imagine being taught to write with your right hand, and you learned it, right? Now they're like, write with your toe.
Yeah.
Well, we learned to write with our toes since birth. Well, I know what writing is, and I know you're writing, but yeah, my horse and carriage that I draw with my toes is going to look like crap compared to you. And this is the kind of feeling you get. It's like he's not making any familiar gestures. You're not feeling a familiar place that he's going to with a power, but there is something very familiar in the force pawn that's radiating off him, like he's almost using a power that you already know.
Interesting. Can I make another check?
No, he just lets you sit there in your goo for a very long time.
Okay.
Finally,
If that's the case, I'm going to hop out of the goo.
Hop out of the goo. Okay.
Well, if he's sitting there for a while, then I'm going to eventually step out of the goo and sit down in my meditation stance next to him.
Okay. For a long while, he lays there. When he finally gets up, he pulls his legs underneath him and doesn't sit cross-legged. He actually just sort of squats down like his own little version of a mushroom, his feet straight under him, his bum touching his ankles, his knees pressed together, his arms limp at his side, his chest leaning down over his legs, and his face pressed forward, and he's just like this little round ball with a head looking at you as you sit there in your meditative pose. A moment passes, and he reaches out with his suction cup hand and places his hand right on your face, covering your eyes, your nose, your mouth, all your senses, but your ears. I don't know about the constitution breathing drowning rules, but he is literally suffocating you. You do have X amount of rounds before you need to draw breath or draw away, but for the moment, he literally mutes out all sensation of sight and smell and vocal. And if you struggle, he maintains his grip. Oh, sure, now suddenly he's very strong. And as you begin to gasp for breath, maybe this is a version of force choke, the jungle sounds around you are amplified. What do you do?
I'm going to listen.
Okay. This is a perception roll. Would you like to listen with your ears? Or, as all Jedi can, listen by...
Listen with the force.
Okay. Can I have your final use the force check? Our little training montage is about to come to an end. What did you roll?
I rolled a 24.
Okay.
And this is due to the fact that this is how Poser initially learned how to tap into the force. This is how his master got him to really tap into the force. It was the same exact method, albeit less tentacles.
Trying to suffocate you with a pillow? Maybe the master just didn't like you.
No,
suffocation?
Blocking out every other sense. He left me to breathe, but he...
Oh, okay. I thought maybe the master decided to turn you into Deadpool or something and put you in a tank and suffocate you and hope your mutant power would manifest.
No.
Okay. Forcing you, quite literally, and with a time limit with that. Can't pull away. I might suffocate and breathe. And while you're distracted by the peril, forcing you to reach out, not with your ears, but with the force, with a 24, not only do you hear the jungle, the life forces, the buzzing, the animals, the crickets, you feel them, their position, but more importantly, their connection through their life forces that emulates through noise, almost like the jungle. It has a heartbeat, like a song. This droning of the insectoids, this swaying and creaking of large plants and such swaying in the wind, the stone cold silence of the mountain peaks, the life force that connects them all, has a vibe which you can hear underneath the actual ambient noise of the jungle. And right before you think you're going to turn purple, he pulls his suction cup away and points at you and slowly raises his arm up and looks up towards the sky like away, and he's looking away into the clouds. He suddenly looks back at you and slaps a suction cup hand on your shoulder, and a whole flood of pushing on your mind, seeing, distance, peril, betrayal, camaraderie, love, hate, passion, fear, death, future. And then he just seems sad and slowly gets up, begins walking away towards the edge of the canopy, leaving you with all these imprints, these centered feeling word thoughts. The only way that he can communicate with you, connecting directly with you for such a long time, you kind of get the idea that he maybe was meditating. He made the power that he actually was using was the far-seeing power.
Okay.
A prophecy, a warning, not exactly a great pep talk, and then just sadness. And the old man gets up and shambles over to the edge and drops out of sight, leaving you alone on the top of this thing. What do?
Well, he's first going to stop crying.
He tried to kill me. He tried to choke me.
You don't love me. You don't.
But, nah, just because that last meditation and whatnot, and before even the flood of feelings from the shaman, but just being able to finally, like, tune into the force and hear kind of that heartbeat of the planet and everything around it, just brought back memories of his master, and just started crying because he hasn't really dealt with his master's death yet. So
even though he's gone over the edge, even though he's probably trudging his way back, there's one last faded signal, one last push on your mind, and it's what you could do, what you must do, what you have to do, his advice, or his will, the will of the Force, a way out of what he was pushing on you before. You're not sure. But the very first lesson he taught you, or tried to, up on this mushroom, comes back to you as he leaves. As he pushes on your mind one last time. Adapt. I'm gonna leave it in. I lost the Twitch server. I lost everything. We'll call them. We'll be right back.
I just lost all in. Maybe put something in there? Maybe? You said like a maybe download? I'm literally doing a force training montage. It gets to the best part, and I look up and it's like, this connection's gone. I told Joe, the Guardians hasn't gone anywhere. Oh no.
Hello? That was my roommate, not me. But thank you.
Hello?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Perfect time to drop out.
Oh my god, my son's down there gutting his computer and putting a new case over it, and he must have nudged something and killed our internet because he's near the rotor. So I'm not upset because my software, the computer is still recording everything I said, so I don't have to re-say it. But when did you guys lose? Like, what part of my speech did you guys cut out? That's hilarious.
Well, no, so you dropped during the middle of me talking about this stuff with my master. Did you hear any of that?
No, what was the last thing you heard me say? Because we were both meditating.
Something.
He gets up.
It was something about a tentacled hand gripping his face, and then it turning strangely gentle.
Okay, so we're back, and I'll have to edit that together, but that was freaking hilarious. Drop it, and he vanishes. What? You are the next. He comes back with war paint in a loincloth going, I'm part of the tribe now, I'm their master. The old man died right in the middle of my force training.
Now.
That would be funny. Talk about ill luck, right? And he died right in the middle of my force training.
All right. So, if possible, I'll take a 10 on this one. See if 16 buys me any new information.
Tracking. Survival check. Keep that ranger tracking. Ride. In any kind of weather.
Oh, I said I was going to take a 10.
Hell bent for leather. Oh, sorry. So what does that give you?
16.
16. Keep that scout tracking till he dies.